Somebody said if you don't like playing with LeBron, you wouldn't like playing with Kobe. Bro, you guys got to stop these narratives, man. It's not that I didn't like playing with Bron, you guys. And I don't want to go into detail about it. Some of y'all comments just be so asinine. Like when I was in Cleveland and I was a young player, I had no idea Bron was going to come back.
Kyrie Irving just dropped a spark that could blow up one of the biggest legacies in basketball history. And the craziest part is, he did it with one sentence on a random live stream. No press tour, no exclusive sit down, nothing fancy. Just straight truth sliding out while the camera was rolling. The internet went wild instantly. LeBron fans jumped into defense mode like they were guarding the rim in Game 7. Comment sections turned into digital street fights. And suddenly, people remember Kyrie isn't just some ex-teammate. He's the dude with real receipts.
The reason why I say I would have loved to play with Kobe, because I would have loved to have started my career with, I love Cleveland, don't get me wrong. I'm appreciative of all the things that they've done for me, but at the same time, I would have loved to choose the franchise I wanted to go to. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to develop next to some of my favorite players and some of my favorite people. Because being a young player, when you're on a team that's not winning a lot of games, there's a lot of bad habits that form. And that's what ended up happening to me when I was very young. I had a lot of bad habits. I was not a winner. I was not a loser.
He was courtside to everything that went down behind those locked doors in Cleveland. And now he's acting like he's finally ready to let the world in. And here's what makes this whole situation so dangerous. Kyrie wasn't heated when he said it. He wasn't loud or emotional. He stared right at the camera with this cold, calm face and dropped a line that shook every basketball group chat on the planet. He told everybody watching that once his playing career is wrapped up, the real story about what happened with LeBron is coming out. And he said it with a trust me that felt heavy, like someone who's been holding secrets on his back way too long. That didn't sound like a joke. That sounded like a warning. And judging by how fast people were panicking in his comments, LeBron's fan base knows exactly how messy that could get. So let's break down what Kyrie might be sitting on, because the deeper you look into his Cleveland years, the messier this story gets. And it didn't start when LeBron returned. It started way before that.
When you guys make it about one player, it is kind of just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just one player that you have to promote. Like, we had like solid players on our team. When you're playing with somebody like Bron or somebody that you guys like to compare him to, it's a different animal. It's a different journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're automatically expected to be at the top of the charts, the top of the league. Every time you play with Bron, it's going to be a lot of media attention. It's going to be a lot of back and forth of narratives. It's going to be about a lot of spun narratives. It's going to be a lot of politics. It's going to be a lot of shit that a lot of people don't see in front of the camera. And for me, I was just a young person trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? It's not that I dislike playing with Bron at any time. It was just literally, it was my time to move on. And that's what people got to accept. They want a deeper, detailed dive in terms of what happened. It's like, it was my time to move on.
People forget Kyrie never chose Cleveland. That's not shade, that's just reality. When he got drafted #1 in 2011, he didn't get to pick his situation. The league assigned him to a franchise still stumbling after LeBron left for Miami. Kyrie showed up with insane talent and handles nobody ever saw before, but he had to carry a roster with no direction and no identity. Night after night, he was dragging that team just to keep them competitive, even when the wins barely meant anything. And here's the part most people never knew. Kyrie recently admitted those losing years built habits he didn't even want. He started playing in a selfish style because he had no choice. Nobody else could score. He became a one-man show out of survival, not ego. But right when Kyrie was shaking those habits and stepping into real leadership, everything flipped. LeBron James announced he was coming back to Cleveland. And just like that, Kyrie's whole path got rerouted. Imagine being a 22-year-old rising star entering your 4th season. The moment when most players start becoming the face of their franchise. You fought through the ugly years, learned the hard lessons, and you're finally ready to run your squad. Then the biggest name in basketball walks in and instantly takes over the whole operation. Your spotlight gone, your leadership role handed off, your chance to grow put on hold, maybe forever. That's exactly how Kyrie's world changed in 2014. And if you listen to how he talks about that period, he never says it was all bad. And he never directly attacks LeBron, but he repeats one phrase that should make everybody listen closely. He says, playing with LeBron is a different animal, and not in the fun, inspiring way, in the your whole world gets flipped and not how you expect kind of way. because being on LeBron's team doesn't just raise expectations or gives more space, and it warps them. Suddenly, you're not judged on your growth. You're judged on whether you fit in LeBron's system, whether you help him win, whether you can deal with being the second option while he controls the whole narrative. And that's where things start turning dark, because LeBron didn't just bring talent back to Cleveland, he brought control. And to understand that, you got to talk about Pat Riley for a second, because this is the part that flips everything. Before LeBron went to Miami, he was gifted but raw. He was emotional during games, shaky under pressure, and still learning how to lead on the highest level. Miami changed him. When LeBron spent 4 years under Pat Riley's system in Miami, everything about him shifted, and not just his game. Riley drilled discipline into him, taught him structure, focus, and how to stay locked in when the pressure turned heavy.
That Miami version of LeBron was the cleanest, sharpest, most calculated we had ever seen. But here's the part Kyrie keeps hinting at. Yeah, the part most people sleep on. LeBron didn't just learn better basketball in Miami. He learned how to run the whole machine around him. The media, the public image, the storylines, the messaging, everything. Pat Riley's system wasn't only about hoops, it was about building a brand that stays protected no matter what's going on behind the scenes. So when LeBron returned to Cleveland, he didn't come back as the same player he left as. He came back with a system he knew how to control. And Kyrie had to live inside that system every single day. He's talked about how everything around LeBron is locked down, filtered and polished before it ever reaches the public. He's mentioned how things get twisted off camera, how politics move behind closed doors, and how the narrative always circles back to protecting one person. That's heavy, because that means LeBron didn't just come back a better leader, he came back someone who knew how to shape every angle of his career, including how his teammates fit into his story. And when you're Kyrie, watching that machine operate in real time, it stops feeling like a partnership and starts feeling like something built to keep you in the background while someone else takes all the light. Then came the moment that should have rewritten everything. Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals. Kyrie Irving, at 24 years old, steps back over Steph Curry with 53 seconds left and drops one of the coldest shots in basketball history. Bang! Cleveland finally wins their first title in more than 50 years. The whole city goes wild because Kyrie just ended generations of heartbreak in one play. It should have been the moment that defined his career forever, the type of shot that gets replayed until the end of time as the ultimate example of icy nerves.
But that's not what happened, and this is where Kyrie's frustration gets loud without him even raising his voice. He hits the championship-winning shot, and when he turns on the TV later, all he hears is blocked by James again and again. LeBron's block on Andre Iguodala gets looped non-stop, while Kyrie's game winner barely gets a mention. It's like his big moment got erased right in front of his eyes. And then things took a wild turn. LeBron went on TV and said that championship made him the greatest player of all time. Not us, not we, not this team, just him. Kyrie averaged 27 a night in that series. He was the second best player in the entire matchup. He hit the shot that sealed the title. But somehow, the whole story became about LeBron's redemption, LeBron's journey, LeBron's legacy. Kyrie turned into a side note in his own story. That's the kind of thing that burns deep, because that's when it becomes clear the system around LeBron wasn't built to celebrate the squad. It was built to elevate one person every time, no matter what actually happened on the court. And then things went downhill fast. Moved to the 2017 Finals. Kyrie is out there dropping 29 a game, battling Kevin Durant possession by possession, while the Warriors dominate every angle. Durant is outplaying LeBron badly, and to a deal, it's not even close. But when Cleveland loses, the blame gets thrown everywhere except at LeBron. Kyrie catches heat, the role players catch heat, but LeBron stays protected, just like always. And then, less than a month after that loss, the unthinkable hits. Trade rumors start swirling around Kyrie Irving, the same guy who brought Cleveland the championship, the guy who carried huge weight in back-to-back finals. Suddenly, he's being floated around like he's the issue. Think about how wild that is. LeBron's inner circle starts whispering about moving on from Kyrie as if that 2016 title never happened. Fans jump in, acting like front office experts, dreaming up fake trades and debating who Cleveland could flip him for. It was chaos, and that's when Kyrie snapped. He demanded a trade because he wanted out. and that made him the first superstar in LeBron's era to actually take control of his path and leave on his own terms. Every other star who played with LeBron either chose to join him or quietly got pushed out when their roles shrank. Dwayne Wade in his later years, Chris Bosh before his health struggles, Kevin Love when his usage dipped. None of them walked away by choice, but Kyrie did. He looked at the entire system, realized it wasn't built for him to grow, and said, "I'm done." LeBron's fan base has never forgiven Kyrie for walking away because his exit exposed something nobody wanted to admit. The LeBron ecosystem only works when everyone else accepts being replaceable. Kyrie refused to play that part, and it shattered the whole image people were used to seeing. And that's when the character hits started coming in heavy. This wasn't the usual basketball talk. This stuff felt personal, strategic, and non-stop. People dragged everything they could find. His stretch in Boston suddenly twisted into the young players didn't like his leadership. His injuries spun like he was sitting out just to make trouble. Even his personality got turned into a weapon, calling him weird, moody, tough to hoop with. Every little struggle became proof that Kyrie couldn't shine without LeBron guiding him. It didn't matter that he was still elite. The narrative was locked in, and nothing he did on the court could flip it. Then the pandemic hit, and everything exploded. Kyrie made a personal decision not to take the COVID vaccine, and the reaction went way past basketball. People weren't just disagreeing. They were calling for him to be kicked out of the league, calling him selfish, reckless, dangerous. The outrage stopped feeling like it was even about health. It felt like he was getting punished for daring to speak for himself, for stepping outside the script people expected. And the wildest part? Why Jots brought turkets. A huge chunk of that outrage came from LeBron fans, acting like Kyrie's personal choice was somehow an attack on LeBron's legacy. That level of obsession was unreal. And through all of this chaos, where was LeBron? Silent, completely silent. No words for his former teammate, no support, nothing. Just silence while his fan base went after Kyrie from every direction. That's exactly what Kyrie meant when he talked about the politics people never see. LeBron doesn't need to say anything himself. The system does it for him. The fans protect the image, the narrative stay clean, and LeBron stays above the drama, untouched. It's efficient, it's sharp, and honestly, it's pretty ruthless. But here's where everything flipped. Kyrie didn't collapse under the pressure. He didn't fade away or prove anybody right. He went to Dallas and became a champion again. He started playing the most focused, efficient basketball of his whole career.
He became a respected veteran in the locker room, someone younger players actually listened to, and a guy who finally found real peace. Not that media-friendly, everything's fine version, but the kind where you truly know who you are and don't need approval. And the craziest proof of his growth, even when Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers, Kyrie didn't shake. He stayed locked in, kept producing, and showed the world that the idea he was impossible to build around was never true. He turned himself into one of the most steady players on the roster. He proved the narrative was never about his talent. It was about people needing him to fail so someone else's story could stay protected. And now we circle back to that live stream moment. Kyrie wasn't done talking after everything he lived through. After years of staying quiet, years of watching his story get twisted, years of holding back, he looked into the camera and dropped that promise. When I'm done playing, you guys will hear the real story. Trust me. And the tone he used wasn't casual. It wasn't some small comment you throw away. It was the sound of someone who's been carrying weight for years. This ain't gonna be a soft interview where he dodges the real questions. This is gonna be Kyrie putting everything on the table. What happened behind closed doors, what the cameras never saw, what the narrative machine buried. Then he hit everyone with another line that cut even deeper. No one could ever live in the shoes. No one could ever have anything legitimate to say about what they would have done in my position. That's not frustration. That's someone who knows things the rest of the world doesn't. Someone who lived through moments that would completely change how we see the entire Cleveland era if they ever came out. The way he said it, that with that edge, that I'm not scared anymore energy, it was clear he's done protecting other people's legacies while his own truth gets buried. So now the real question isn't if Kyrie will speak, it's what happens to LeBron's legacy when he finally does. Because for years, the system around LeBron has been airtight. Every narrative gets polished, every storyline gets reshaped, every bit of blame gets redirected away from him and onto whoever is closest. It's been controlled, precise, and unbelievably effective. But Kyrie's promise cracks that armor. And when he finally lays out the politics, the tension, the off-camera conversations, the real stuff that never made it to the public, LeBron's carefully built image might not survive unchanged. Kyrie didn't need a Netflix documentary or a PR rollout to shake the room. He did it with one sentence on a live stream. And the way people panicked instantly, the way defenders popped up out of nowhere, the way some fans tried to discredit him before he even said anything, it's clear everyone knows how dangerous his truth could be. The countdown has already started. Kyrie's retirement isn't far away. And when that moment comes, when he can finally talk without worrying about contracts, team politics, or league pressure, then the entire basketball world is going to be locked in, because the truth hits different when it comes from the person who actually lived it. And Kyrie Irving lived every bit of this story, every choice, every conflict, every moment that got twisted for someone else's benefit. And soon, he's going to make sure the world knows exactly what really happened.